Hi guys, welcome to Saturday with Stephanie. So I wanted to use tonight to kind of prepare you for what's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks with our online worship and everything else. Tomorrow will be as normal. We'll have the Sunday morning worship service available online. We're meeting in person again for the first time in December, so that's exciting. But if you prefer to do online, that's available for you, same time as always. Immediately afterwards will be the chapter of the story. Then, starting on Christmas Eve, we will be shifting from our devotional content to offering a little bit different things. So I'm going to explain to you Christmas Eve first, because you see I have all of this stuff laid out for you, and I wanted to give you a heads up about it. Our in-person and our online Christmas Eve services are going to be completely different this year. We actually found this idea through Focus on the Family, which I thought was really awesome, for doing an at-home Christmas Eve service. And so we are going to have that available starting in the morning on Christmas Eve, because we know people are really busy around Christmas. Even if you're only doing Christmas with your own household, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, you end up with a lot of just a flurry of activities, whether it's making dinner or opening gifts, or if you're not getting together with family, I'm guessing you have a bunch of different Zoom calls or phone calls or whatever else to connect with family and friends far and wide. And so we wanted to offer the Christmas Eve service it'll be available starting at 9:30 in the morning on Christmas Eve. And I'd encourage you to watch it even if you're coming to in-person worship, either at 3 or at 7. Please make sure you sign up for the in-person worship. We are trying to limit that to 50 people or less at each service, so we don't want to overcrowd or have too many people in the building. So please make sure you sign up in advance. In addition, on the day of Christmas Eve, Pastor Travis and I are going to be at church. Pretty much we're planning on being there all day. And that is to serve those who are not comfortable with coming to in-person worship so that we can offer communion. If you're more comfortable receiving that outside in the open air, we can bring it out to you. If you are okay with coming in and having communion at the altar, it'll be just you and him. That's fine too. So plan on at some point from 9 in the morning until the first service is at 3 in the afternoon. So anytime between 9 and 3, if you want to take communion without other people there, please feel free to just come. Call the office if you're not comfortable with coming to the door, that's fine. Call our cell phones, text us, whatever, and we will make sure that you can take communion. So I hope that's clear. So you see I have all these candles and a lighter and all of this. For our online Christmas Eve service, we're going to invite you to participate with us. And part of what you're going to need is some candles. Now, I have a lot here, but the bare minimum of candles that you are going to need is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, probably 10 candles. You can use whatever candles you have on hand at home. You see, I have a whole huge variety here. I have a bunch of tea lights that we got at IKEA. I stole these out of our Advent wreath because you've seen it before that we have the votives. I actually have this big one that has 3 wicks in it. You'll see why when you watch the Christmas Eve service. And then I have this one over here. But minimum of 10 candles. And if you are in a household that you have lots of littles and you're not really comfortable with open flame, I totally get that and respect that. Instead of the candles, you can bring out maybe your toy nativity. The biggest things that, just kind of to give you this heads up, is these candles are representing the different nativity characters. So we have Mary and Joseph, baby Jesus, the wise men, the shepherds, and the angels, plural. So if you can gather up those things and have them available while you're watching the Christmas Eve service, then you can participate right along with us. Make sure you have something to light the candles with, and you'll be set to go if you're using the candle option. I hope that makes sense. Just to kind of let you know too, this particular candle that we're using, this is actually the Unity candle from our wedding. And what's really kind of cool about this one for us is that while we were helping serve a mission church in Franklin, Texas, shout out to the people from Franklin if you're watching, we actually used this as the Christ candle for a brief time because we actually started doing worship services there on Palm Sunday. And as you all know, for the Good Friday service, having the candles on the altar is a really big part of that. And then also on Easter, having the candle, it's a really big part of that. And so we wanted to have something special, so we used it then as well. So we're going to use it for our Christmas Eve service at home this year. And I hope that's a blessing for you. So, all of that being said, this is a weird year for Christmas, isn't it? A lot of us have had to let go of favorite traditions, things that we are used to, and it's hard. Being a pastor's kid and now a pastor's wife, Christmas traditions for me have shifted a lot over the years. So growing up, Christmas Eve for me was always, we were at small town, old school Lutheran church, and so our Christmas program was on Christmas Eve. And my grandparents would come sometime during the day on Christmas Eve and bring a mountain of gifts with them. So I remember basically the Christmas celebration would start with their minivan pulling up and us unloading and filling the room with wrapped gifts. My grandma had no limits when it came to presents for the family. So in fact, she used to do what she called stockings. And it started out with just filling stockings for every member of the family, usually with just really helpful things like our favorite kind of shampoo or chapstick or gum or things like that. And it morphed into being a stocking plus a wrapped office paper box, one of those pretty big size, because it wasn't just at that point, shampoo, but it was also laundry detergent and lotion and literally every personal care item that we might possibly use throughout the year, which was really nice when I was in college to come home and get all restocked on everything that I needed. So that was a big part of our tradition. Then we would go and have dinner. Dinner was always chili and oyster stew. I never ever ate the oyster stew as a kid. I thought it was disgusting. Honestly, I don't think my mom has made it since I was an adult and willing to try new foods. So I have never actually tasted it. Just the idea of oyster stew sounded so gross to me at the time. And now I'm kind of intrigued and want to try it. So maybe one of these years when we're able to gather normally, I can convince Mom to make it again. And then we would come home after the Christmas Eve service and we would open all of our gifts and we'd stay up super late and we'd eat a bunch of junk food, and snacks and nacho dip and Chex Mix and leftover Christmas cookies and just all kinds of goodies. Stay up super late, and then the next morning get up and go to Christmas Day service. One of the family jokes was that my sister was always sick on Christmas. I have this theory that probably it was just staying up late and eating a bunch of junk food because it was rare for my sister to actually make it to Christmas Day service. She was almost always sick in the morning, probably from eating everything that we ate the night before. I don't know how I managed to escape it and not also be sick every time. So then we'd get up, go to Christmas Day service, and afterwards have, for a while it was a variety of things, but then we settled in on having breaded shrimp because it was super easy to just pop in the oven. And my grandma's famous funeral potatoes, which are basically a hash brown cheesy casserole. That was Christmas for my family. And then a few days later, we would actually travel to a couple of hours down the road to my grandparents' house, the same ones that came to see us, and have a second Christmas with extended family, cousins, and things like that. So then once my husband and I got married, things were a lot different. We never have served a church that has had a Christmas program, children's Christmas program on Christmas Eve. And so for us, Christmas Eve services, it depended on the congregation and what the schedule was. Sometimes we would have dinner invite from friends in the congregation. Sometimes other things would happen. We would take care of doing all of the Christmas Eve services. We've even been at churches where we did something like a midnight Christmas Eve service, which was exhausting. And then we get up early the next morning and do Christmas Day worship. And then we would have some sort of simple dinner and usually take a nap. That became our Christmas Day tradition, was to take a nap on Christmas Day, because we were just so tired from all of the flurry of worship services, sometimes 2 or 3 on Christmas Eve, depending on the congregation. And then since we've been in Fort Worth for the last 5 years, our tradition has been on Christmas Eve to go out to dinner at a local restaurant and to leave a really big tip for the waiter or waitress that serves us. That was kind of a value of ours. Last year, that tradition shifted because Pastor Travis was actually pretty sick on Christmas Eve, just feeling really lousy and just trying to get through. And so we just picked up takeout and ate that. And quite honestly, we're going to repeat that this year because we're going to be spending Christmas Eve at church. Once the 3 o'clock service is over, FYI, for those that want communion, we're still going to be there after that. So it'll probably be done around 4, anytime between 4 and 7. If you want to come by and get communion, if that's more convenient for your family, we can do that too. We might be eating our dinner, but so just bear with us. Give us a minute to pause that, but we'll pick up takeout and have dinner at church. And we are just thrilled to death to be able to spend Christmas at church when so much of this year has not been spent at church for a lot of you. So that's kind of what is happening for us with Christmas. Now, I wanted to explain the rest of the Christmas season. For those that don't know, the 12 Days of Christmas, you hear that song, The Partridge in a Pear Tree, and the 12 Days of Christmas actually begin on Christmas Day. Day 1 is Christmas Day, December 25th. It's not the 12 days leading up to Christmas, in case you didn't know what that was. It's actually the 12 days that lead from Christmas to Epiphany. And we'll talk more about Epiphany when we get there. But traditionally, the Christmas Day service that my husband has done and written for years and years and years has been a service of carols and readings. And part of the reason for that is that the folks that generally come to in-person Christmas Day worship at church are the ones that would not miss church whenever the doors of the church are open. And so he wanted to offer that gift of, we're going to sing whatever your favorite hymns are. We've been at churches before where we've actually had it be where people could pick whichever song they wanted to sing, pick their favorite Christmas carol. And so we would do that and do a series of readings around the Nativity. So this year, we are not offering an in-person Christmas Day worship. The situation with COVID being what it is, and also a lot of people making the choice to not go into public places, we opted to offer something a little bit different. So we are taking the service of carols and readings, which is generally doing a scripture reading followed by a Christmas carol, and we are spreading it out over the 12 days of Christmas. So Pastor Travis is going to do the first one on Christmas Day, and he'll explain how it's going to look over the rest of the 12 days. And then we have people from the congregation who have stepped up to do videos of themselves reading the scripture readings. So you're going to get to see some of our members, which will be really nice during this time when we haven't all gotten to see each other as much lately. And so each day, instead of our normal devotional reading, you will have the opportunity to enter into part of that carols and readings service, just divided up over 12 days. So each time it'll be a reading and then a Christmas carol. And I hope that that's beneficial for you. We're going to offer that at 5 o'clock every day, except for the 2 Sundays that fall during that. On Sundays, those readings and carols are going to be incorporated into the Sunday morning worship. So just so you're aware of that. So I hope all of that is really clear. That's a lot to be throwing at you, but that's kind of the plan over the next couple of weeks. January 6th is the celebration of Epiphany. And so at that point, we will do our final devotion from the booklet that most of you should have received or at least have been able to download from the internet. So the final devotion in that booklet is the one for Epiphany, and we'll do that day. And then we're going to shift to doing some other devotional things for our daily devotions. There won't be any Sunday school lesson on the story on Sunday the 27th. We had deliberately scheduled for not having Sunday school that weekend, basically Thanksgiving weekend and the weekend between Christmas and New Year's. But there will be on January 3rd, there will be a story lesson. There also will not be Saturday with Stephanie during the 12 days of Christmas. We're going to offer the Christmas readings and carols instead of that. But I will be back the following Saturday after Epiphany, which I believe is the 9th of January. So that's the next time you'll see one of these videos. And part of that is too we're just really thankful to be able to take a little bit of a rest and a break during a season that is incredibly busy for so many of us. Now this year is different. It's not the same kind of busy that it normally would be. There's not all of the parties and gatherings and everything else. But we still want to be able to serve you in the best way possible. And so I thank you for your patience. This was a bit longer video than normal. Remember, you need a minimum of 10 candles really, or else just gather up your nativity. You can put out each piece as we read and talk about it. You will want, most nativity sets only come with one angel, so if you have some extra angels, you'll want to have those on hand as well. But I pray that all of these things for Christmas are a blessing to you, and that you find some new and special traditions to mix into what you've done in the past in a year that's very, very different. Pray the Lord's blessings to you this Christmas season and always. Thanks for joining me. Bye.